we are just going to dive right in. So Charis, that is the coolest name. We had a whole bunch before the show started about her name and where it comes from. And maybe we'll do an extra prize to the first person to email me to my email address with what the accurate meaning of Charis. So if you can email me, keith.robinson@bhghome.com with the accurate meaning of the name Charis, you will get a prize. And you may be wondering how you win the Cutco knives. We are going to take a random sampling, or the third question that we get today. You won't know when you're the third. I will know when you're the third because we register everything here. So I will know when it's the third question that's been asked for the day. So you must interact. You must ask questions. The third person to ask a question today will get the Cutco closing gift knife set. $200 gift certificate thing that you're going to learn a lot more about later. That's probably the worst setup in the history of webinars or radio. So Charis is going to bail me out now. So Charis, you're with Trulia, and you are going to teach us how to optimize our presence on Trulia and grow your leads. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay, cool. Let's dive right in. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So Trulia, you guys are a big deal. You guys get a lot of traffic. Tell us a little bit about your traffic and what it means.
Yeah, so we're the #2 real estate search website in the industry today in the world, and we have about 35 million uniques, and mobile is a huge factor in that, and so we get about 1/3 of our traffic comes from mobile, and then so think about it, we have 35 million uniques on the website with our mobile combined, and 1/3 from mobile, but over 50% of our leads come from mobile.
So 1/3 of your traffic is from mobile, but 50% of your lead base comes from mobile.
That's correct.
So already I'm going to go off script. For an agent who is just sort of getting their foot in, maybe their website isn't mobile, is mobile, maybe you may cover this later. What tips do you have for a real estate professional trying to make sure they have the proper mobile presence?
Well, first, make sure that your website actually is mobile friendly.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that no matter what screen, whether you're on your 65-inch laptop or big screen at home, iPad, Android, Galaxy, Kindle Fire, you name it, if it is mobile, make sure your website actually fits to that screen. The other thing is make sure that your phone number is clickable. On the front of your website. For some reason, real estate agents like to hide their email and their phone number, which is very interesting.
It's cool because it makes us secret agents,
That's
and
right.
that helps us when we're out. Like, people think we're interesting and dynamic that way.
Yeah, or if you're Phineas and Ferb.
Right. Wow. All right. Whew. I'm going to plow through that one. So what are the primary benefits of our partnership? We have a partnership with Trulia. We've worked with you guys for a while now. What are some of the benefits that we get from the partnership?
Yeah, so the first thing is all of your listings as a BH&G Mason-McDuffie agent, they get prime place. So all of your lists are featured. They're all with the agent. Also, we remove all the listings and brokers. So there is no ping ads, which is probably the biggest benefit. All of leads, all of your traffic is exclusive to you. And you also have a profile on Trulia, which we'll talk about later as to why that's important. And then you get a lot of training through our partnership.
Okay, good. That's because this, I think, is the crux of the matter, or a component of it. So next slide, thanks. Being present at the moment when the consumer hits the button, right? So you've got a window in time here where you have an opportunity. Tell me a little bit about what you have here, because I think this is important, and when you engage in the process is important, and how aggressively you don't want to be too aggressive at the wrong time, but you don't want to be too passive when it's time to be aggressive as well.
Yeah, so I think the first thing we have to talk about is the new consumer. So we have this thing called millennials that are now in the U.S. and all over the world. So they're considered the connected generation. There's about $200 billion in buying power with the millennial. And a millennial is someone who is, you'll see different age brackets, but is someone born after 1980.
Okay.
And so they're the largest generation on earth, and they make up about 80 million
So they were
consumers in
infants
the US.
when Duran Duran was big. Is that kind of the...
Something, I don't even know Duran Duran. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Oh, my God.
They also make up 1/4 of today's workforce. So you have to understand that consumer before you can understand the importance of this slide.
Okay.
So when you look at the consumer buying today, whether they're a seller or a buyer, they're about, they look and they research for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
And then they start the process. Once they start the process, they select an agent in about a day. And it takes, depending on the buyer or the seller. So the question is what are you doing to reach the millennial in that 1.5 years that they're researching whether they're ready to buy or sell their home? So you need to make sure that it's not about today's marketing, but it's about what you're doing to create that memory recall value when a consumer is searching to whether or not it's a good time to buy or sell.
Okay. One quick thing. Audience, several of you have mentioned we have some audio stuff. We're working on that. We'll get it fixed. And then I have a question from the audience as well. What ways do you recommend that you keep that, and I'll use different language than what you use, but how you keep that mind share with the consumer? How do you do that? 13, 18 months is a long time to consistently farm and make sure you're keeping that mind share. What are your recommendations around that?
Well, the first thing is there's a lot of technology companies and people like myself that'll come in and tell you print's dead.
Yep.
I actually disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Right.
And I believe anyone that says that doesn't really have a gauge on the actual consumer, because you find consumers at different times in the marketplace. So the number one thing is make sure your offline marketing connects with your online marketing to make it successful. If you just do online and it doesn't connect offline and it doesn't connect online, then you are missing a huge component of the way to make that work. So that's number one. But the second thing is, take advantage of the free tools and services that your company is already providing. And I think that's the biggest thing, that agents are looking, for that pill, that one pill that they can swallow and all of a sudden, they become millionaires.
Right.
And a lot of people thought that with the internet. Right? And that's actually not true. So if you adopted the internet, in the 2003 era, then you had a lot more success early on, and a lot of those people continue to think that that's going to happen, but you don't realize the amount of people that are in the space now that weren't 10 years ago.
The early adopters have gotten diluted.
Right.
Yeah.
That is correct. So I think the main thing is take advantage of the free tools. Specifically, what we do with you guys is free profiles on Trulia, number one. And I'll even promote other companies. Zillow offers free profiles. So consumers are on the number one and the number two search real estate website. And then, creating a profile on these sites. And I'll just talk about Trulia, but the benefit of creating a profile on Trulia is, number one, it's free.
Yeah.
Number two, it actually comes with better Google Juice. So Google Juice, I call, is search engine optimization, how fast and how high you show up on Google.
Is that anything like Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice, or is that totally different?
Much better.
Okay, good.
Much better. And so the main thing is that, create that profile, connect it with all of your other online marketing tools. If you blog, make sure you blog on Trulia. If you answer questions from consumers on Trulia, all of that is connected to your profile. So if I'm a consumer and I do a search for homes for sale in Pleasanton or luxury homes, and that's something that you blog about quite often, Google recognizes your agent profile actually better than your own website if you do it right. And you'll actually see that if you Google yourself, if you're doing it right, your profile on Trulia will actually show above your website and some of your other online marketing tools, and it's all free.
Because of the cross-pollination component?
That, and it's the long tail. It captures a lot of the long tail marketing.
Got it. So if I'm someone who's new, technology is a little intimidating. It's not something that I've done much with yet. I wasn't one of those early adopters in 2003, 2004. Other than make a profile, what do you recommend I do to begin to build that, what I'll call, technological footprint?
Well, first thing is get recommendations. Recommendations, we know most people, whether you're in the car right now, whether you're at home or in this room, we've all chosen a restaurant or chosen a product or chosen a pair of shoes based on something that has been recommended or someone that has been recommended to you.
Yep.
So that's the first thing. But the other thing that I tell a lot of people is don't be afraid of technology. Most people are afraid of it. And there was a study done actually with a 4-year-old boy, a 4-year-old girl, a 40-year-old male, a 50-year-old male, and a 50-year-old female. And they put an iPad in front of them, and none of them had actually ever touched the iPad, and you're laughing because you know where this is going.
I do, because I have an 18-month-old little girl.
And I have a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old.
I know exactly
and it's
where
amazing.
this headed. Yeah.
But what's interesting is they took it out of the box, they sat it on there in front of them, each one of them are in their own room, and the 4-year-old, shocking, well, not to me being a female, but actually figured it out.
Girls are smarter than boys. We all know this.
Actually figured it out before the 4-year-old boy, but the 4-year-old boy figured it out before the woman and then the male, the older male. So, and I think it's because kids have no fear,
right,
and they're not afraid to break things, which is why they are not afraid to jump off a 5-foot
Right.
walls. And we are, because we know it hurts if we fall.
Right.
So I think the main thing is don't be afraid to use it, and don't be afraid to engage it. Just don't hit save, and you won't break anything.
Right. Right. Okay, good. Good. You mentioned recommendations. Sorry. Yeah. So recommendations are a huge component. Yelp, your site, all of them?
All of them.
All of them.
It's free, and there is no reason, because you have to realize and I'll take this into shrimping. When you
Take it into
are
where?
shrimping, when you're a shrimper, if you're someone that goes out and you get shrimp out of the Gulf,
Okay.
you're not shrimping in just one
I
part
thought that
of the
was
Gulf.
a tech term
No.
that I didn't know.
They shrimp along the entire Gulf, so they don't fish in one spot. Is my point. So
We're dangerously close to a Forrest Gump impersonation.
Are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan, we'll do it, Dan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so you cast a wide net.
That's right.
Okay.
As far and wide as you can. And the other thing that we didn't really touch on in the beginning is when you say, Yelp or Zillow or Trulia or whatever, 55% of Trulia's traffic is not on Zillow. So that is half of our traffic. More than half of our traffic will never visit Zillow, and vice versa. And then, unfortunately, for a realtor, the number between their duplication and our duplication is widening. So it's 68% of our consumers are not on Realtor.com, and then vice versa. So consumers get information. It's the same thing. You may like Fox News. I like the Today Show. You may like Good Morning America. We all get the information the same, in different ways. It's almost the same information, but it's the way that we receive it from these different publications that we like it better.
So we pick a different delivery vehicle.
Absolutely.
For the information that we want. And so for some of the consumers, it's your site. For others, it might be a different one, but not as much crossover as one would think.
And duplication.
Okay.
So when you talk about recommendations, we know that agents that get recommendations on our site, paid or not paid, get 2.5 times more leads than agents that don't.
Okay.
We also know that filling out a profile on Trulia, making it 100% complete, 20 times more views than profiles that are incomplete. Or not at 100% complete.
So if you're going to do it, do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to play in the sandbox, you got to build sandcastles. Otherwise, I have a lot of analogies.
Yeah. Wow, some cool ones. We've gone from shrimping to building sandcastles.
It's just it's awesome.
So
Unless you stay at the beach.
Apparently. So question from the audience. Is there a place on Trulia where I could do a blog or build a blog on Trulia itself?
Absolutely.
Where is that?
If you actually create a profile, then you access it through your profile. Otherwise, if you just go to Google and type in Trulia Voices, it'll link you to that part of Trulia. There you can sign up for a blog, or you can sign up for questions.
Okay, good. So we have a slide about sold listings. Let's talk about that because it's a great way that the agent can position themselves. Tell us a little bit about adding sold listings.
So adding sold listings, for some reason, tends to be the scary part of real estate. I'm not sure why. If you're a consumer, it makes a lot of sense. So we know that the number 2 most sought after information online for real estate is transaction history. So if you say you're a luxury agent, right, and that's what you build your entire platform on, but then I go and I look and see that you've never sold a home over $200,000, that's a problem.
Right.
But the consumer, with the web, we know there's no boundaries. We know that the people on the internet can be whatever they say they want to be, right? If I want to say that I'm an astronaut, I could be an astronaut, but no one will know, right, until they meet me and realize I'm not an astronaut. So you want to make sure that whatever you're putting on your profile is exactly what you do. So the importance of adding sold property is as Trulia has revamped their Find an Agent directory, and if I'm an agent in Pleasanton, and I'm promoting myself as the #1 agent. We all know, we've seen the ad on the side of the page, the #1 agent in Pleasanton, but that agent's never sold anything or listed anything in Pleasanton. So this now allows agents to appear higher in areas where they've actually transacted. So you want to go to your profile under My Listings and claim your sold listings. If you're not comfortable with disclosing price, that's fine. If your seller doesn't want it, then don't put it. That is, a concern. If your sold information happens to be on Trulia, because we're already getting it from the assessor pages, we just want you to claim it. And when you claim it as the selling agent, then you will enter in the buyer's agent, and that agent will be emailed saying that, let's say Charis, I was a selling agent, you were the buyer's agent. You would get an email asking to verify that you actually transacted with me. Once we both verify, we get the verified stamp on the sold listing. If we don't verify, the sold property is still there. You get free exposure on the accessor pages of Trulia, and then these sold listings attached to your profile, thus giving you a higher boost.
How do you verify that the claimor is the person who should be claimant?
So, very good question. So, we've found that agents are very good police officers.
Yeah, true.
And so we know pretty quickly if someone did or did not. And usually the next question is, how far back can I go to claim my sold
That actually is a question from the audience. How far back can we claim sold listing?
Yes. So you can go as far back as you want. I'd be realistic, though. I mean, if you sold a home in 1955, probably wouldn't claim that. But
Right.
hey, but we do know the more you claim, the higher up in the search.
Okay, good. So claiming my sold listings will help with the searches. It'll help positioning myself and add more validity and credibility to what I say I am.
That's right.
Okay.
And also really quick on the Find an Agent directory, we've revamped it. So if you be top selling agent, there you go.
Yep.
On the homepage, then that's how you get to be one of the 2 agents in the front. But here you can see recommendations, sold listings are the 2 ways to get to the top of Trulia as fast as possible.
Okay.
On the agent directory side.
Got it. So I want mobile. Everything's headed towards mobile. Facebook couldn't increase their sales price till they figured out mobile. So how do I get more mobile exposure? What do I need to do as a real estate professional out in the field, meeting with buyers and sellers in dining rooms, conference rooms, and living rooms?
Well, the first thing is you have to invest in a tablet. That's the number one thing.
Okay.
And it's amazing that I see agents that come to my house and door knock that are still with their
Clipboard.
pad paper and clipboards. If you are going to go on a listing presentation and you come in with paper and I come in behind you, and I'm 35, so if I come in behind you and the average age of an agent is 55 and I have a tablet and I'm going around with my Evernote going in and taking notes on your property or recording our conversation in order to make sure that I capture everything about your listing in order for me to make sure that I can convey that online when I enter it, I'm going to get the listing over you, hands down. So there are paid ways on Trulia that you can get mobile advertising, but I'm not going to talk about that today. If you want more information, you can definitely contact someone at Trulia for it. Trulia Pro Blog is also a really great place to go. We have a lot of training materials and education there on mobile and the importance of mobile. But the one thing that we know is mobile has changed the way consumers buy products.
Yep.
I know me personally, when I walk into Best Buy now and my husband wants to buy this flat screen TV, what's the first thing I do? I get my QR code.
You say, yes, dear. That's the first thing.
I do not.
Shoot.
I take a picture of the label and I see if I can find it cheaper online, the exact same TV.
Right.
And I can transact it right there in Best Buy, even if I'm buying it from Sears.
Right.
And so I don't believe that mobile will disintermediate the agent beyond popular belief. And I don't believe Trulia thinks that either. Actually, I know we don't think that. But we do know that 72% of consumers that search on mobile are more likely to make some sort of a connection within an hour, whether that's texting, whether it's calling. And that's just not on Trulia. That's average. That's just period.
So get a tablet. That's how I can help prepare myself for mobile. How do if I want more exposure, is it response time? How important is response time in that process?
Response time is 100% the most important thing. We know that based on Leads 360, which is a survey done by them last year, that if you take within 1 minute of responding to a lead, the likelihood of converting that client, that lead into a client is 391%. But not everyone can respond within a minute. But if you take that down, let's say to a reasonable amount of time, which is 30 minutes, that drops your chances to 62%. So between 1 and 2 minutes, just the difference between 1 minute and 2 minutes is 391 to 160% of being able to connect with that consumer.
Fast shelf life.
The other thing you have to realize is the average consumer, when they're searching, they send 7 leads, right? And their more time is spent on Trulia than any other real estate website. So let's say I start at the 2 o'clock hour and I send you a lead, right? And you're the first lead.
Yep.
But then now Kathy becomes the 7th lead that I sent, and that's a half an hour later. Well, if the person that I sent the first lead to has already responded, the next 6 leads I may not respond to because I'm already working with this agent if they responded faster.
Right. So first to market
Connectivity.
matters.
And just make sure anything you do, your newsletters, your MLS updates, everything must be visible regardless of what side screen that you're on.
Okay. Keys to success.
So we know, we've heard today, obviously, just taking advantage of all the free tools, not just on Trulia, but also what tools and information that your company provides. Increasing your exposure on Trulia by getting recommendations, creating a profile, claiming your sold listings, and then, of course, mobile, understanding the mobile consumer and making sure that, you do little tips like creating templates for responding when you're with a client, and so on. And there's so many things. We could do an entire show on mobile.
Okay.
And probably 5 more beyond that, because it'll change by the time we've done the first one to the 7th one. So I think it's really, really important. Another really important tip, and I know I have to stop talking.
No, you're good. You're good.
Is we know that the new consumer, the millennial, we know they switch media 27 times per hour.
Now, when you say switch media, what do you
So
mean?
I may be on Facebook for a second, then I go over to Twitter, and then I'm now on Fandango to see what's coming on. And the millennials have ADD.
Yeah.
The attention span less than a fly. And I see that in my 4-year-old, I see it in my 9-year-old. And they want to buy, apps, you get the free app and you have to buy all the coins. You don't have to work for the coins anymore.
Right.
Unless you're in my house, I don't let them buy coins. So you have to teach patience, but just understand it's instant gratification and making sure that you are everywhere, anywhere a consumer wants you to be, even if you can't be.
Okay, good. One other question from the audience. How do we create templates to respond on Trulia? So is there autoresponders? Can they set that up? How do they do that through your site?
Not on Trulia. Actually, if you have a smartphone, iPhone platforms come with a free notes app. Droid has some things. I don't use Droid.
Copy, paste, send.
Evernote is a fantastic. Anytime you do a listing, you should, or get a listing, not do a listing, but get a listing. You should create an auto response about that property, something unique, something special that you didn't put into the, this is just my opinion.
Yeah, no,
you didn't put into the description. So when you do get it, you copy and paste it out of Evernote immediately, or you can send it from Evernote as well, and all of that, but copy and paste it, send it, and let them know I'm currently with a client, and in order to give this client my undivided attention, I wanted to make sure that I responded to you. And you're copying and pasting. You're saving your time. You're being more productive. So identify with an app on your phone, because there's an app for everything, that will auto-respond for you.
Good. Charis, thank you so much for your time. And you guys are also sponsoring a gift that we're going to have coming up, which will be winning a Trulia Pro membership that's for 6 months valued at $250. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
So thanks so much for being part of the gift giving. That'll be on the September 30th radio show. So if you want to get 6 months of Trulia Pro for freebie, tune into the radio show on the 30th, and we will whack Charis's credit card for 6 months of Trulia Pro.
That's right.
Thanks again. Thanks so much for being here. I'll check and see who figured out what your name really means, and I'll let you know. So now we've got a quick update on Cutco. They've got closing gifts, and they were also our gift giver for today. So thanks so much for being here, Mitch Felix, and talk to us just a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Cool. So good morning, everybody. I'm very grateful to be here this morning, and we'll announce the $200 gift certificate winner in just a few minutes. And I've been with my company, Cutco Cutlery, for about 15 years, and I work with about 3,000 clients all over the United States. And we support real estate agents and loan officers with their closing gifts and their referral gifts. So most of you will give your client something when you finish this next transaction. And most of those items, however, if you really think about it, we believe they're eaten, they're drank, they're spent, they are tucked away. They don't really get used all that often. And so what's really unique about high-quality housewares, especially American-made housewares like Cutco, they're used nearly every single day for your client's life. And because they are diamond, drag, engraved, and branded with your information, they have top-of-mind awareness with you. It's a legal tax deductibility gift, and it is easy because everybody eats, so it works for pretty much everybody. And we now drop ship your gifts anywhere in the United States.
It's easy because everybody eats. That's funny. That's a good one. Good. Cool. Yeah. Anything else you want to tell them before we announce the winner?
I would just love to have you contact me if you'd like any information on what we do at mitch@yourbusinessgifts.com. And we have a $200 winner, Al Calhoun from the Tahoe City office. Al, you'll want to email me at mitch@yourbusinessgifts.com, and I will help you claim your gift certificate, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it, Mitch. So now I'm going to introduce our next guest. His name is not nearly as interesting as Charis's, but the conversation will be. We have Rich Casto, our Chief Strategic Officer, and he and I are going to have a conversation about how to get 30 leads in 90 days. Rich, good morning. Welcome to the show.
I get to follow her.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
She's good.
She is good. Very smart.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so bar set high. You can run under it if you like.
I think I'll run under it.
Okay, good.
In a little action.
So 30 leads in 90 days. How do we do this? I mean, this is a little bit, I don't believe in silver bullets, but it's a lead generation business, yeah?
Right.
And so how do we really, unlock a lot of leads in a short period of time so we can get our unfair share of this business?
Well, just a simple tech strategy that I want to go through with everybody, and everyone's probably heard that our new website / CRM are coming up. So this is some strategies you're going to really be able to use with our new technology.
Cool.
So we'll start with a website. And what we have found, and we've already tested this with the broker side. If you go to bhghome.com now, you'll see a little different setup. It's got 3 very specific lead capture. In the property search now, when they look for the third property, it has what we call mid-level registration.
Mm-hmm.
We were capturing close to 80 leads more a month now with mid-level registration and property alerts, or our new first alert system.
Now, when you say mid-level registration, what's that mean?
What that means is deposit withdrawal.
Okay.
So they search for properties between 600 and 700 in Pleasanton.
Mm-hmm.
They get to see the first couple properties, and the third one, it asks them, please register, or would you like first alert?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're getting about 80, 90 more leads a month, and we just started offering that about 60 days ago. And those are true leads, especially first alert, because in first alert it asks them, do you also have a house to sell? Would you like to know its value?
Yeah.
You got an 18% run on that and saying yes, yes, those are listing appointments, which is very rare to get off the website. It usually attracts buyers.
Now, we're only on to point 1, but
Mm-hmm.
I know there are some agents who maybe have historically had some resistance
Right.
to a mid-level registration.
Right.
My client just wants to look for property. Search is really
Right.
important. Kind of been beat over the head with that as an industry.
Right.
And so if I had some fear or trepidation around, it's 3 and a, you would tell me what?
Well, I have 2 answers.
Go. Give me
The
the...
Rich's patented answer, which everybody agrees. I have some interesting answers to some questions. We are not a nonprofit company.
No, we are
If we were
not.
nonprofit, then we wouldn't have mid-level registration.
True.
But secondly, we have what I call a soft mid-level.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't fill it out, they continue to still be able to search.
Got it.
So it's still there. Now, I've been highly criticized for not making it a hard mid-level.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it from both sides.
Sure.
So we're testing the soft mid-level now. We'll try some hard
seeing what
mid-level and
works.
see what the results are. But here's what we do know. Mid-level registration works.
Right.
We're doing it at the broker level, and with the new websites, the agents can have that. So you can send out your newsletter, campaigns with a link, search for every home for sale in San Francisco. They come back to your property search. You capture them in mid-level registration. You're instantly capturing leads. So that's critical on the website.
Yeah, how many leads would you get if you didn't have it?
Exactly.
That'd be 0.
Yeah, that'd be 0.
So
Yeah.
a little bit of let's say I don't necessarily agree with this, but let's admit maybe that there is a certain amount of inconvenience for the consumer. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that I even agree with that because we're pretty used to play for a little while, have to fill something out.
Well, that's why the first alert
Mm-hmm.
has been strategic, because over half of the mid-level registrations have been for that. They'll fill out quick information if it's something of value to them.
Right.
And rarely has property alerts been branded in such a way that it shows, if you're really seriously thinking about buying a house, how'd you like to be the first one notified when your dream home comes on the market?
Right.
If they're serious about buying a property, they're going to fill that out. And so we found that those leads are of higher value too. We've only had first alert up for 30 or 45 days, and the E-team's already got a listing off of it.
Nice.
I get emails constantly from the agents out on Walnut Creek. Wow, I woke up this morning, 6 a.m., there's a first alert lead.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have something of value, there's going to be consumer. If you're just asking them to register just to register,
Right.
then yeah, they might pass it over. So,
One of the bullet points is instant deals. What do you mean by that?
instant deals, meaning if they register on First Alert,
Okay, got it.
okay, that's an instant lead right then because they're giving you some real information. And that's instant listing appointments, instant buyers. That's why, it's interesting she was talking about the iPad.
Yeah.
I've been encouraging the agents
You have.
in open house
Yeah.
with your tablet. Open the First Alert, not the property sign-in sheet.
Right.
I've always wanted to create a bonfire with those things. But anyway, so you have a tablet and go, hey, would you like to know when house is coming to market instantly? Here, just fill this out right on your iPad. Hit send. Their phone all of a sudden gets alerted right then. That's your client right there. They got something of value. They see that you
Immediately. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, that's what I mean by that.
So campaigns. Tell me what you mean by campaign, because that's the language that
we're
we
going
use.
to a rotation. I see these campaigns. I think they're hilarious. How to winterize your home.
Right.
The top 10 country music songs. Stuff that doesn't brand the agent as any type of industry expert or competent in their field. So there's 4 different campaigns I think that are critical. You can rotate them each month. So 3 times a year each campaign. First would be, would you like to know when a house meets your dream house comes on the market instantly? Click here for First Alert.
Yeah.
That's 1 month. The next month is the market has changed. Would you like to know your equity position? Click here. And that's what I mean by the that slide with the house values.
Yep.
So you can have your own, by the way, their website will come with their own little house values part.
Oh, cool.
So they can drive traffic to that. The third one will be the would you like to know, search for every home for sale here. That's the property search, the advanced search. Especially for the agents that are going to be in San Francisco, we're very aware of a couple of websites that compete very well there, and ours is going to be very similar with the districts.
Good.
So would you like to know, properties instantly when they come for sale on the Castro?
Right.
Click here.
Click here.
So that's the third one, and the fourth one will be your newsletter.
Okay.
So the newsletter, which will be going out every month,
Yep.
positions that, market report, the thank you, so they see people trust you, and then values that you found in the last 30 days and are on the market now. That newsletter. So that's your rotation of 4 that should go out.
And those go just steady Eddie, consistent, persistent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was chatting with an agent the other day when I was out at one of the offices, and your work around preaching around the newsletter must be working, because she said, I sent it out and it actually worked. I got great feedback. People were responding. While I was standing there, she got an email from someone about her newsletter. So consistently done, these things work. They provide value.
Exactly.
What do you mean by datadepot.biz? What's
This
that?
is one site of many, and you could purchase up to 100,000 email addresses that are opt-in for $99 based on zip code. Now, the issue is when you upload them into the CRM, you're going to get flagged as a spammer, and every email server will shut you down.
Right.
So if you get lists like this, my recommendation would be to upload 75 a day and make them groups of 75. So group 1, 75. Group 2, 75. So the campaigns would go out to these groups, maybe DD1, DD2. We have found that 60% of these datadepot.biz email addresses are deliverable. Which is, for $99. I don't know if you remember back in the old days, you wanted 1,500 email addresses. It cost you $2,000. They'd send out one campaign for you, and you didn't own the addresses.
Wow.
So it's really changed. And you talk about the shrimp, throwing the net out there. You may get a few Coke cans, but that's what this is about. It's about casting the big net. So you just put those people in that same rotation. It doesn't cost any more. In that same rotation of 4. And you'll develop some business out of there. It's a numbers game.
Is that rotation? So that rotation is 4 in the 90-day period that we're talking about? Or is that?
Yeah. Send them out the First Alert, the advanced search system, and the house value part.
So you're hitting them 4 times in 90 days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Craigslist. Talk to me a little bit about Craigslist.
Yeah, this is a huge opportunity. Just huge. It's hilarious if you get on San Francisco Craigslist homes for sale. It's the most ridiculous, awful marketing that I have ever seen in the history of real estate. Not that I would, exaggerate it.
Tell me how you really feel.
It's funny. If you click on the houses that are on there, you don't even have links to the websites. They actually have phone numbers for people to call. People are on Craigslist to call you. The pictures are hilarious. There was one picture on there, dead serious, was of the bathroom.
Uh-oh.
And the toilet paper holder had one little sliver of toilet paper hanging, like it was hanging on for its dear life. It was hilarious.
A hanging Chad.
By the way, maybe that was the
unique value
strategy
proposition.
because
right.
I can't stop talking about it.
Was the toilet seat up too?
No, it was down.
Oh, okay.
Which is good. But there are templates that you should put, that come straight from the MLS into your template that should post on there, links back to your lead capture on your website. As a matter of fact, I would post every listing on the planet on Craigslist because it costs us how much?
No, nothing.
Oh, yeah, that's free.
Yeah, free.
And then half of the ad should say, would you like to know instantly when houses come on the market? Click here, and the link goes to First Alert. Mm-hmm. If they fill that out, it's a real lead. The other half is of the house that you're marketing.
Right.
You pop 10, 20, 30 of those a week in the Craigslist asking agents, can I use your listing? You're going to drive a lot of traffic to First Alert. Mm-hmm. And Craigslist, just look on there. There's a company called Listings to Leads. Mm-hmm. I know the owner. He's out of the Bay Area. Very inexpensive. They even have their own CRM, lead capture points to lead back to. Very professional. I think 10 listings is $20 a month. It's very low price. And I've had some agents out in the field use it already, and they said they've gotten great results from that. But I see a lot of opportunity on Craigslist, a lot, in San Francisco. What's funny is on the East Coast, it's done pretty well. I mean, they really take advantage of it. But here in San Francisco, where it originated, the agents haven't really done much for the experience there.
Tell me a little bit more about Listings to Leads. What's it do? Where does it fit into my business?
What it does is it takes, now there's no allowing of third-party posting to Craigslist. I think there was a company, they had like 3,000 employees in Southern California, and then one day Craigslist said no, and they went out of business. Yeah. But what they do is they set it up for you to do just a few clicks to post it on Craigslist. And they have the different templates that will go online. It also posts to a lot of other different areas, the listing. And then it has its own client relationship manager. I wouldn't recommend to use that. Now you're using two different CRMs, and the website's got lead capture on it already. You just want to link your Craigslist ad to your lead capture points or landing pages, is an industry standard, to capture those leads. And it just puts it in an easy format for them to do. And they've been doing it for a long time. I've been knowing them for a long time.
I want to dig in a little deeper on the lead capture stuff.
Okay.
You pull that up for me, Kathy. So on the lead capture piece, I know we have the mid-level registration. What are some different ways, because that really is the crux of it. How can I get more leads captured? Because with the internet leads, I think a lot of the agents that I talk to, they want a big funnel.
Right.
Because there's a long tail, as Charis alluded to, that they're 13 to 18 months before they're ready to pick their agent. So how do I get that big funnel, and what are some different ways that I can do that?
Well, first of all, the first thing that has to change is attitude.
What's that
mean?
The
agent.
Yeah.
Meaning, what if 18 months ago you were driving all your database, email, anybody that you had email addresses on, to equity evaluations on their property or First Alert? What would your business look like today? Mm-hmm. And so you have to start on that pipeline sometime. What's interesting, though, is about 1 out of every 20 of these, though, will want to do business now. So it is a numbers game. When it comes to driving to your website and First Alert, anybody that has an email address in the Bay Area, it doesn't cost anything extra to send out to them. Mm-hmm. Your database, your newsletter, if it has value, will get forwarded.
Right.
And so you just want to continue to build your database that way. Getting emails from datadepot.biz. Right now, I don't know why people aren't doing open house every Sunday. Mm-hmm. That's 50 people a Sunday coming in the open house. I know I'm very close to somebody that does open house.
Yeah.
and she had 55 in there
Wow.
a couple of weeks ago, 65 the week before that. That's 200 people a month if you just take the time to be in an open house every Sunday. If you want to add leads, there's the way to go. Just walk around with the
First
iPad,
alert.
First alert, and that. That to me, it would be the number one strategy right now. It really would be.
And they're further down the sales funnel.
Exactly.
They aren't
At
just
least they're
starting.
out looking.
They're sacrificing their Sunday to go spend
Right.
some time looking at property.
Yep.
So let's flip to the first alert slide for just a second. I know we've talked about this before, but if I'm at an open house, I've heard what you said, and I want to go and take advantage of this. How do I talk about first alert when someone walks in the open house? Like real tactical.
Well, first of all, you come up to them with the iPad and say, how long you been looking?
Right.
Are you looking in this area? And they'll tell you yes, no, maybe, just starting.
Right.
Whatever their dialogue is. And that's, by the way, this question is critical to ask them even if we didn't have first alert. I want everybody out there to raise their hand if they've ever worked with buyers that didn't buy. That's the constant complaint.
Right.
Well, the reason is we didn't ask the questions, right?
Right.
They may have given us the answer, but we didn't want to listen because we're in fantasy. I hope they buy land.
Right. Buyers aren't liars. We just may not
Exactly.
be great question askers.
If you
sometimes.
go up to them and say, look, how would you like to know when great properties that meet your criteria come on the market? How would you like to be one of the first ones to know instantly in this competitive market? If they say, no, that's okay, would you agree that that's probably not a buyer?
Right.
All
Right.
So if they say, yeah, that would be great, then you just put the iPad in front of them and say, just fill out these quick questions. It's that simple.
Right.
You don't have to overcomplicate this or manipulate. Would you like to know instantly yes or no?
Right.
And when they say yes, you might have an actual real buyer. And then, of course, the last two questions. Do you have a house to sell?
Right.
Would you like to know its value? Because if it was me, I would tip out all the buyers and only take the listing appointments.
Or at least prioritize them somewhat differently.
No.
No, you would just punt.
You're
right.
a buyer, really.
Question from the audience. How do I actually get a link to First Alert in or on Craigslist? Or do I just put my website address as an ad? How do I?
Oh, no. You can hyperlink on Craigslist. So you would copy and paste out of your browser the actual First Alert form page on your personal website, and that's what you would hyperlink under your Craigslist ad.
Okay, good.
Pretty simple.
Another question from the audience. Let's flip to the house values page. Okay. So the question is, do we currently have a lead capture tool available for house values? And then will the new CRM website, is that going to offer that if we don't currently have it?
Yeah, the new agent website will have the CMA form on the website, and it'll also have lead capture. So when they hit submit, it'll go directly into your client relationship manager as a lead. You get alerted on your phone. I love earlier the 1 minute response time.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of struggle around this.
Yeah, I pulled that slide out. I'm
Yeah,
gonna blow it up.
that is critical. And you find this when you're online all the time. We have such busy lives now. Even if you don't have ADD, you
Right.
are. If you're online and you're inquiring about something, I remember when I got health insurance when I was an independent contractor, and the first guy, I swear, I hit submit, and the phone rang instantly. That guy got my business. People
Right.
called me later that day, the next day. I was like, why are you even bothering? It's true. You might call me an hour later, and I might be at my daughter's soccer game.
Right.
So I don't want to talk to you.
You're
I
on the
was
voicemail.
dealing with real estate an hour ago.
Right.
Where were you?
Exactly.
So unless you're mobile invested, unless you've got other agents that you can bring on your team, you can form your own E-team. A lot of these big agents can do this to where there's instant response all the time, from
Right.
the hours of 8 in the morning to 9 at night. Who wants to be on my team? And you get a referral fee for that. If you're not going to be available Saturday through Tuesday, 2 other agents are. They get notified. The beautiful thing about this new CRM is it's team-oriented, so you can have people can have their own separate dashboard to into the CRM. So that's what I would recommend there. If you're really going to do this, like I said earlier, all in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Response time is so critical. I mean, even those of us without ADD,
Right.
online, we have ADD, right? Here's how I know it's true. I want you to find the oldest person in your life and watch them on the internet. It will drive you bananas because they're sort of plodding along. They're putting their finger on the screen while they read it, and it drives you crazy because you're already ready to click on to something else that caught your attention. You're ready to move to try to find the end of the World Wide Web, right? Yeah. So
let me mention one other thing about the leads coming in that can separate you from all the other agents. Remember, there's 40,000 agents in Northern California.
Right.
And here's the problem that buyers and sellers have. They don't see a difference between any of us. They told us this. That's why commission pricing gets hammered a lot. Well, if you're all the same, let me go ahead and negotiate.
Price is the only differentiator if you're all the same.
You're kind of like trying to book an airline. Same thing we look at. Price, that's it. When you respond to these internet leads, respond with something different, a value that other agents don't respond with. For instance, would you like to know the resale value of these properties in these neighborhoods over the last 10 years so you know what kind of investment you're making? Would you like a list of properties that I feel are not competitively priced and properties that are competitively priced at this time? This shows competence and you actually caring about what the buyer experience is, not, oh, you're a lead, I want commission.
Right.
These are two different types of responses. So if you offer the buyer or the seller things that'll help them make a better decision, information that's valuable in the investment they're making, that differentiates you. And they'll see that based on the other responses. Oh, my gosh, is this an agent that's, I don't know, they could be competent.
Right.
The buyer's opinion is agents are in it focused on the commission, not on actually being really competent at what they do. So show that in your responses. And we're working in, I think our next training that we're going to do at the Power Listing will be about how to generate leads.
Yeah.
And so we'll have some nice form stuff to respond with the new website. So if you get a first alert lead, what you should come back with to get them to engage you further.
Yeah, and I just want to repeat what's been said a couple times already, but worry less about what you're going to say, worry more about speed.
Yeah.
If you are responding in the first minute or two, that is a differentiator enough for most of these, I think.
Responding period.
Right, responding period, but certainly let speed be your differentiator. As you get enough of them, you'll feel your way forward in learning the right things to say. But being the first one to say something has enough value that I think you'll win most of the time, unless you just have a Tourettean tirade when you call.
I've got one other strategy I want to talk about.
Go.
Kathy and I have talked about this. These quickly leads. Now, it's tough to call because it's a text message and we get the person, they get text all the information on the property. It doesn't say, call me on my cell phone.
Right.
So agents have a hard time making that call, which they should. If you text them back, not call them.
Text them.
Text them a value proposition for first alert in the text. Meaning, I notice you're getting information. How would you like to know when houses like this instantly come on the market? Click here. They go to the mobile version of your first alert and fill that out. If they fill that out and hit send, that's a real lead.
Yeah.
And what a great way to get through the quickly leads. Because, I've heard there's some mixed reviews on how good those leads are. And this is a great way to filter
who's in, who's out.
Yeah.
Put a little hurdle in front of them that they've got to jump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'd like to see people going mobile with it quickly because, by the way, that's how the lead came in. Mobile.
Yeah.
So come back mobile with a first alert offering. I think you're going to get some value out of that.
One thing we've danced around, and I just make sure we dot all the I's and cross all the T's, is the newsletter. So form and function and structure of a newsletter. What should a newsletter look like? I know you're a big fan of like chili recipes and clean out your eaves and gutters.
Right.
But so what?
How to rearrange your garage.
Yes, yes. What in your recommendation? How should an e-newsletter be structured?
First, they need to be able to, when they get it in the email, they need to be able to think they can read it in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a long, drawn out with big, long articles, they'll do what I do, delete.
Yeah.
Some newsletters come, it's almost like you don't have a choice but to read it.
Right.
Those are when it comes up in your email.
By the time you figured out whether or not you want to delete it or not, you've already read it.
By the time you could find that little X in the upper right-hand corner of your email, you've read it.
Yeah.
That, to me, is one thing. Second, no links to website to read. There's a 2% click-over rate. If it's 3 paragraphs, click here to read the rest.
Got it.
That only irritates the crap out of me.
Okay.
Third is, if you don't write it, don't worry about sending it. No one cares.
Okay.
Form newsletters that go out have a 3% read rate, according to Casto Contact. If you personally write it, and it's going to your database, almost 45%.
Wow.
So you need to write it. Take 3 hours a month to write your own newsletter. And make sure it's branding you the way you want to be branded.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, do you want to be known as the recipe expert?
Right.
Or do you want to be known as the market expert? So it should, one section should be the market report and not the typical data. Home sales were up 7.9%. Condo sales up 32%. That's like describing the water as someone is drowning. It's not real helpful. What you need to do is gather your info and give a prediction on where you think the market's going to go and quote your sources.
Describing the water to someone who's drowning. That's funny.
The other one should be a thank you to anybody that you've come in contact with. Buyers, sellers, listing appointments, closings. I want to thank John and Phil, Mary and John, blah, blah, blah. This shows people trust you and that you're working. And find 3 homes that are valuable, you figure are good values, priced very competitively. Put the picture, description, and a link to your website. Market expert, people trust me, I'm looking out for your well-being. That's the way you want to be branded. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 critical pieces to the newsletter. Quick, easy, 3 hours, you're done.
And that's really the newsletter, right?
It is, that's it.
If you add more than that, you're complicating.
That's right. Don't beg for business. It's 100%, I like to call it a 100% deposit.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Good.
Yeah.
So, Rich, first of all, I want to publicly thank you for all the work you've been doing behind the scenes on what we're in beta now on, which is our new technology application. Since we've got some of the masses here, anything you want to tease, talk about, anything around that you can share with the group?
Yeah, I think that they're going to have a great experience with the new product. It's simpler and does 100 times more. Mm-hmm. The beta testers have said, oh my gosh, it's just easy to navigate. You hear that, guys? Easy to navigate. I will say this, and everyone knows I get pretty passionate about things and motivated. I'm going to temper everyone. It is technology.
Yep.
And it is new.
Right.
So understand that, temper your expectations and learning this. We're going to get through this like any new product. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to not get overly excited because, to be honest with you, it's really cool.
Yeah. Any technology tool will have glitches. It'll have ways that the designer designed it that may not be intuitive to an individual user. Right. It's going to be stuff around the stuff. Yeah. But it'll be more powerful, more robust.
Yeah, this has got social media integration. It's got lead capture. It's WordPress. It's got blogging. It's got stuff that we've never seen before, stuff that the other CRMs like Market Leader and all these other companies never even thought of and would have to invest a lot in. What we've done is we've gone with a company that has built on an open source CRM. Mm-hmm. So we've got 1 million brains that have worked on the CRM over the years, and they real estateized it. Mm-hmm. So we've got development making it better 24/7, unlike other organizations that are in there called walled garden. Mm-hmm. So we think this is a smart way to go.
Question from the audience, of course. I should have known this would come. When's this? Can they have it now? When's it going to roll out?
It's going to roll out
When it's ready. That's the answer.
It's going to roll out according to the rollout schedule.
Yeah. That is a good non-answer. Rich Casto for president. It'll roll out. I'll answer a little differently. It's going to roll out when it's ready.
Yeah,
and we don't want to roll it out too early.
30, 60 days, the integration starts. We actually have 200 heavy users on WebTop, so we're going to square their stuff away. We're going to manager training rollout, agent training rollout, office rollout. So we got a lot of moving parts in this. That switch should be flipped between 30 and 60 days from now as we start the migration.
Yeah, and it'll be a process. It'll be a journey, not an event. Yeah. We aren't going to just on one Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. say, hey, everybody, new system, and then run and hide. It'll be a process. We promise there'll be plenty of communication from Kathy and her team, Rich and the rest of the technology team about what that process will look like. But since I had him here, I figured I'd ask the question. Just to get a little bit of information about it. So, Rich, thank you so much for your time. I know how hard you work, and I know how much value you bring to the company. I appreciate you taking a little bit of that time to share it with the agents on the radio show. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Also, thank you to our sponsor, Cutco, for giving the great giveaway. Al is going to be cooking dinner now. If anyone wants to head to Tahoe City, he'll be slicing and dicing with new knives. Or he could give it to a client, I guess. I don't think it would necessarily be that self-centered and assume that he'll keep it for himself. By the way, it was just my birthday, Al. I don't know if you knew that, but you could just have him leave them here with me. It's another option. Charis, thank you so much for providing information about Trulia and millennials and different ways to work with web-centric leads and sharing all that information with us. I really appreciate you being here. Our next show we have is the manager's got an opportunity to see Darren Hicks. If you're listening to this show right now, I want you to go grab 3 people each and tell them to carve out time next Monday. Life lessons from a Navy SEAL about leadership and business. Darren Hicks is an awesome guy. He is also a total badass, which makes him even cooler. But I've had an opportunity to have several conversations with him. He's one of the places where I go when I want to get, as he would refer to it, directional clarity. He's got a really great mind and is able to process things as you would expect from being a Navy SEAL in an interesting and fast fashion. So we're really lucky to get to have him to be our guest on September 16th's radio show. And then we also are going to have Demystifying the Zestimate. We're going to have Brian from the Zillow Academy on. And Express Stocks will be giving away $250 as well on the next radio show. So please make sure you tune in, tell a phone, tell a friend, tell everybody you know to attend the next radio show to be one you won't want to miss. Thanks, everyone, and go out and make it a great week.